There are three big myths about photo editing that prevent photographers from producing their best work, and they need to be debunked. So in this video, I'm showing you what they are, how they hold your photo quality back without you realizing, and how you can bust these myths to take your editing to the next level. And then I'll reveal the one huge myth that believers think adds the wow factor to their photos, but it's actually what makes them look worse. But first, these are the three myths that I see hurting people's edits the most. Let me know in the comments if you have one to add to the list. Now, let me show you the effect of myth number one so that you can understand why it needs to be debunked first. I actually blame editing software and modern cameras combined for creating this problem, because it makes certain things possible to a level way beyond what photos actually need most of the time. So for example, here's an old edit of my own from back when I used to think that more detail equals a more interesting photo, and that because shadows hide detail, the logical conclusion that I came to was that all shadow detail must be revealed. Now, the damaging admission about this particular photo is that it's one that I produced in my first ever course teaching luminosity masking in 2013. Now, it was effective at teaching the techniques of how to edit tonal ranges selectively, but in hindsight, I hadn't quite dialed in my approach on how far to use those techniques just at that time. But anyway, here's a more recent edit of the same image where I've used the same techniques but just made different decisions about how much shadow detail to uncover. And the result is a far more natural looking photo of what is still one of the most fiery sunrises I've ever seen. So really solving this issue happens in two parts. The first is just to be aware that you don't have to reveal all the shadow details to the maximum all the time. And that if you do want to brighten shadows beyond a certain point, then also make sure you brighten the rest of the image relative to the new shadow lightness. That is, if you want a natural looking, non-HDR weirdness looking photo at the end of it. The second part to solving the issue after just being aware and making different decisions is learning the techniques that you need to do it effectively, which leads us on directly to myth number two. Now, the myth is the reason that people avoid learning the techniques that are going to get them the best results. So maybe they try something once, see a steep learning curve and put it on the shelf for later, and then later never comes, of course. Maybe because it all just feels like a lot of hard work, time-consuming, intimidating, or confusing, or probably a combination of all of those things. The thing is, some advanced editing techniques can be quite technical and involve a lot of steps that are difficult to remember if you don't use them daily. But the myth that still lingers is that the most effective techniques are just out of reach for photographers who just want to do things quickly and easily. I did used to think that it was essential to learn every single nuance of a complicated technique if you wanted to do it well. And my courses on luminosity masking have been my best sellers since 2013, proving that you can choose that route if you want. But after helping thousands of photographers use these techniques over the years, I eventually realized what most people want is just simplicity. Remove the confusion and just give them the techniques in a way they can actually use and remember. So I created a plugin for Photoshop that doesn't try to impress you with how many fancy buttons and fiddly features it has. Instead, I tend to boast how few buttons it has and how easy it is to use, but what it does really well. Now, if by some chance you're watching this video and you're one of the few who haven't yet downloaded it, then you can grab a free version of my luminosity masking plugin when you click the link in the description or pinned comment. Now, you can use the free one as long as you like, but if you like it, you can upgrade to the paid version later if you want. Now, the thing is, you can bust myth number one and number two, but if you're still being held hostage by myth number three, then you're probably sitting on a bunch of potential 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 quality photos. But at the moment, they just look like 7s, because the myth is one that it prevents you from making that tiniest edit that will make the biggest difference. The myth is that pixels are sacred. And why is it a myth? Well, because let's be real, the megapixel wars are pretty much over at this point. We all win, files are massive. We've reached a point where enough is enough for pretty much 99% of regular photographers like you and me who just like taking, editing, printing and sharing nice photos. Now, because we are where we are with the pixel wars and that all happened, we have these huge files. The best thing about it is that it's opened us up to this new way to make a simple edit that will take a 7 out of 10 photo and turn it into a 9 or a 10 out of 10. Now, the myth that pixels are sacred is exactly what prevents photographers from making a simple crop in Photoshop to sacrifice a pixel or two in the name of creating a better composition. Because even when you do the very best editing techniques to bring out the light, color, contrast and drama in a photo, if the composition isn't quite right, then it's like putting lipstick on a pig. Sorry for that extreme analogy. It's probably not that bad, but you know what I mean. So anyway, once you're happy to start cropping for composition, this next tip is actually going to be a bit of a lifesaver. Have you ever been editing a photo and thought, man, I really wish that I just pointed the camera half an inch this way or that way, because you almost nailed the perfect composition, but it was just the tiniest bit off. And now you're home and the chance to recompose and take another shot is gone. And even cropping what you've captured is just not going to do the trick. If so, then just try this the next time you're out taking a photo. So once you've lined up what you think is your ideal composition, just zoom your lens out a tiny bit to give some breathing room around the edges for dialing a composition in perfectly with a little crop in Photoshop later. Or, of course, if you're already at your lens's widest setting, then just step back a bit and recompose with the same idea in mind. And if you try getting into the habit of capturing slightly wider than you actually need, then you may be surprised how many times it helps you dial in that perfect composition later with a little hindsight crop. That's myths number 1, 2, and 3 busted, but there's one more huge myth that believers think helps them create the wow factor in their photos, but it's actually what makes them look worse. So watch this next video to discover what it is and how you can avoid it to actually make your photos pop.